Discover the incredible truth behind NYX, the heartwarming goddess of night prophecy revealed. In the small Midwestern town of Maplewood, giant storms stirred under the surface, threatening to unleash chaos. When Jamie, a 28-year-old waitress, slipped into her faded apron each morning, she often felt the weight of unfulfilled dreams hanging thick in the air. The comforting scent of home-cooked meals mingled with the bitterness of older folks clenching their coffee cups, each face revealing worries thick as fog. Still, Jamie remained steadfast, fueled by her commitment to her war veteran father and her younger brother, Ethan, whose sparkle promised more than the town's limited horizon. Every day at her family's diner, she served comfort like a warm hug. "The usual, Mr. Thompson?" she'd say with a small smile, pouring coffee into chipped mugs that held shared memories of laughter and loss. Each pie she sliced carried whispers of hope, apples and cinnamon dancing in the air, fitting neatly into dreams long set aside. But beneath the surface, change loomed. New families with their shiny cars moved in, casting shadowy glances at Jamie and her kin, their disdain for old Maplewood palpable, like the bitter brew they consumed. One fateful night, the sky darkened more than usual, clouds thickening with a furious promise of a storm the likes of which Maplewood hadn't seen in decades. It raged and roared, ripping through roofs, uprooting trees, and sending innocent laughter scattering like leaves in the wind. Jamie stood rooted in the diner, her heart racing as the world faded outside. She felt small yet fierce, a flame flickering against the dark. "We can't let our town fall apart," she shouted, gathering her community to rise above the chaos. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue." With the storm behind them, she became a beacon, organizing relief efforts from the diner, collecting supplies and strengthened hearts. Even as her family faced loss, Jamie found strength in stories of their ancestry, tales of NYX, the goddess of night and transformation, awakening a sense of purpose in her heart. As she rallied her community, she saw resilience igniting in every broken soul surrounding her. Yet, as they began to rebuild, she knew their trials weren't over. Town hall forum discussions surfaced, addressing the bitterness between old Maplewood and new affluence. Emotions crackled in the air, thick as autumn leaves. Can a single mother's courage outweigh the wealth bottled in boardrooms? The question hung. Jamie felt the weight of every pair of eyes, a challenge that could rewrite destinies. But just as hearts swelled with possibilities, her father stood, trembling with a confession that could flip the script, sending shockwaves through the room. On the edge of an awakening, Jamie's heart raced as the shadows of their past entwined with a flicker of hope. Would this moment shape the future of Maplewood? Or would it unravel everything they fought for? With whispers of NYX swirling in her mind, she knew their story was far from over, leaving her poised at a crossroads that could tip the scales of transformation, forever altering their legacy. The room fell silent as Jamie's father's voice shook the air like thunder. "I have something to say, something about our family." The weight of his words hung heavy, and Jamie could feel the tension crackling around her, as if the very walls of the town hall dared not breathe. Every eye in the room turned toward him, a collective heartbeat waiting in anticipation. In that moment, Jamie was painfully aware of the deepest fears that lay hidden in the hearts of their townsfolk. What if he revealed something that shattered the foundation of their lives? Her heart raced as worry etched itself into the corners of her mind. "Your grandfather, he was not who you think he was," her father continued, each word like a ripple in still water. "He was part of something bigger, something that tied our family to the very essence of this town's spirit." Gasps filled the room, rattling the air with sharp gasps of disbelief. Jamie's palms felt clammy as she swallowed hard. She could sense Ethan shifting beside her, his wide eyes mirroring the confusion swirling in her chest. "Dad, what do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, straining against the walls of uncertainty. He had dealings with the NYX essence, her father said, his voice thick with emotion. It's a bond our family made generations ago with NYX herself, a pact to protect Maplewood from darkness. As he spoke, Jamie felt the room darken, shadows creeping into the corners, twisting their shapes as a chill surged through the gathered crowd. But I thought those were just stories, Jamie protested, her heart pounding. Myths and legends to entertain children. How could they be true? Her father clenched his fists, desperation flashing in his eyes. The storms, the fear that clings to our town, they're consequences of breaking that bond. The new families in town, they're not just here for a better life. Some aim to exploit our scars. We're at a crossroads, Jamie. If we don't embrace our legacy, Maplewood may fall into deeper chaos. The weight of his words settled around her like a spark in dry grass. Could it be? The stories of NYX, the shadows that danced through her childhood, were more than just tales. They echoed through time, carving a path of responsibility and sacrifice. Jamie searched the shocked faces around her, fear mingled with a glimmer of hope in their eyes. They needed guidance, and the thought tethered itself to her heart. Gathering her breath, she stood taller, drawing in strength from the whispers of her ancestors. If we unite, if we embrace our past, we can fight against this darkness. NYX chose our family for a reason. We carry her light. Jamie's words poured out, unstoppable, filling the hall with a slow flicker of defiance. A hesitant murmur echoed back from the crowd. Had she struck a resonant chord? Suddenly, a young mother with a baby in her arms stepped forward. I believe in those stories, she said, her voice trembling but full of conviction. Then let us remember them. Let us fight. One by one, others began to nod, voices growing louder, gathering around Jamie like a storm of determination. But as hope ignited, a movement from the back of the room caught her eye. A dark figure slipped away, a knowing smirk curling on their lips. And Jamie felt it in her bones, a challenge brewing, a test of her newfound strength. As she stared into that fading shadow, a deep sense of urgency washed over her. The battle was just beginning, and unseen forces were ready to claw back at the light. What waited for her in the inevitable clash to come? Would she find courage greater than any storm before her? The answers loomed closer as she prepared to step into her role. Little did she know, the bond with NYX would reveal more than she ever imagined, entwining their fates forever. The murmurs in the hall slowly transformed into a wave of voices, each person wrestling with the revelations that hung heavy in the air. Jamie stood still, feeling the weight of their anticipation. With every encouraging nod and murmured agreement, the warmth of hope ignited a fire in her chest. But beneath that fire lay an undercurrent of anxiety. What lay ahead was uncharted territory. The dark figure that had slipped away nagged at her thoughts, every instinct whispering that danger lurked nearby. Her father stepped forward, his face a mixture of pride and fear. We must prepare ourselves, he said firmly, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling around them. To understand our legacy, we need to delve into the stories, the true ones. Jamie met his gaze, searching for clarity. But how do we even begin? She asked, her heart racing again. We barely know anything. He gestured towards the town's old library, a building steeped in history and dust. The records, the tales, everything is there. If we want to connect with NYX, we need the history of our bond. The books will guide us. Ethan finally spoke up, his brow furrowed. What if those new families are already aware of what we're seeking? What if they try to stop us? There was a sense of urgency in his voice, and Jamie could see the worry etched across his face. We'll be ready for them, Jamie affirmed, feeling defiance swell within her again. If we work together, we can't be afraid of the shadows. They can't own us as long as we stand united. As she glanced back at the crowd, she saw determination blazing in their eyes. Felt good, this united front, this courage rising to meet a challenge. But in a corner of her mind, doubt crept in. Was it enough? Could love truly withstand the threats that whispered against their very existence? The crowd began to stir, voices transitioning from fear to purpose. They talked about gathering supplies, organizing search parties, and drawing maps of the old paths leading to where legends claimed NYX had first walked among them. Jamie felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. These were her people. This was home. Just as the energy in the room reached a near fever pitch, Jamie felt an unsettling shiver race down her spine. It was the unmistakable sensation that she wasn't alone in her thoughts. Her eyes flicked to the entrance of the hall, and a figure stood there, taller than the rest, cloaked in shadow yet emanating a strange, magnetic aura. The figure tilted their head, lips curved into that same smirk Jamie had seen earlier, and she felt her heart stop. An electric tension surged through the air, leaving everyone momentarily frozen. "Are you truly ready?" the figure called out. Their voice was smooth, wrapped in shadows and smoke like a fatal promise. "You think you can reclaim what has been lost? Prepare yourselves, for the night's essence has eyes everywhere." The words faded into the air, leaving a chilling silence in their wake. Jamie could feel her blood hammering in her ears. A mixture of fear and strength surged within her, pushing her to take a step forward. "We will fight," she shouted. But even as she said the words, doubt threaded through her resolve. Was she truly prepared for what lay ahead? As the figure turned and melted into the shadows outside, Jamie knew that the battle for both her family's legacy and the soul of Maplewood was just beginning. What if that figure was more than just a messenger of chaos? Was their presence a warning or a declaration of war? Determined yet uneasy, Jamie could only wonder what surprises tomorrow would bring as the threads of fate began to weave an intricate pattern, one with her at the center. The morning sun peeked through the clouds, casting a soft glow over Maplewood. The buzzing energy from the night before still lingered in the air, electrifying Jamie as she stepped out of her house. She could feel the community rally behind her, a solid wall of determination soaking into her very bones. Today would be a pivotal moment. As she headed towards the library, the large, aged door loomed before her like a sentinel of forgotten stories. The wood creaked under her touch as she pushed it open, the musty scent of old paper greeting her like an old friend. The flicker of long-abandoned dreams whispered softly from the shelves, and Jamie's heart raced at the thought that their destiny might be hiding among these pages. "Over here. I found something." Ethan's voice broke through her thoughts. He sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by stacks of books. She hurried over, curiosity pushing her steps faster. "What did you find?" she asked, excitement bubbling in her chest. He held up a dusty tome, its leather-bound cover cracked and worn. "It's a collection of local myth stories about NYX and the families that once thrived alongside her," Ethan said, brushing off the dust and revealing a beautifully illustrated title page. "Look at this." She leaned closer, scanning words that sparked her imagination. "This says she wasn't just a goddess of night but also a protector of secrets." A thought struck her. What if those secrets can help us defend ourselves against the new families? If we understand NYX's true nature, maybe we can tap into that strength. Ethan nodded, seriousness etching his features. "We have to be careful, though. If they come after us," his words lingered like uneasy shadows stretching out from the corners of the library. She glanced around, feeling the weight of unseen eyes. The fear of what could happen felt palpable, but she pushed it aside. "We can't turn back now. We have to know what we're up against." They spent hours combing through the pages, their fingers dancing over the ink as they pieced together the stories. Some spoke of fierce battles against dark omens, while others revealed softer tales of love woven through darkness. Jamie's heart swelled with hope. Maybe they weren't just stories, but blueprints for survival as the day wore on. The library door creaked again. This time, it was Jamie's father, still carrying the tension from the night before. "I need to ask you both something important," he said, his brow furrowed. "What is it?" Jamie asked, anxiety gnawing at her. He inhaled deeply. "I've been in touch with some of the elders. They believe the new families are gathering strength. We have to meet them directly and confront their intentions." Jamie felt a rush of emotions. Fear collided with determination, courage with apprehension. What if they see us as a threat? What if they come after us? Her father met her gaze, the seriousness in his eyes striking through her doubts. Then we stand our ground. We have to be honest about our history and protect what matters most to us. Truth can shatter their lies. Nerves tingled in Jamie's fingertips. Okay, let us do it. They made a plan under the warm glow of the fading sunlight, and as they prepared to leave the library, Jamie couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. An unsettling reminder of the figure from the hall slipped back into her thoughts. What if that figure was one of them? She whispered, fear flooding her senses. Ethan straightened. Then we'll be ready. But now, it's time to uncover more about who we are and what they truly want. Filled with a sense of purpose, they stepped out into the crisp evening air, the sun sinking low on the horizon, reflecting the uncertainty and strength of their journey ahead. As Jamie walked away, questions loomed large in her mind. Could the whispers of NYX guide them through the encroaching shadows? And what other secrets would she uncover about her family's past? The night ahead felt like a dark abyss, waiting for her next step. As they stepped into the dim light of the dusk, Jamie inhaled sharply, feeling the cool breeze brush against her skin. It felt heavier now, charged with anticipation and lingering trepidation. The shadows crept closer as the sun disappeared, and for a moment, she hesitated. Was it really wise to confront the new families? She glanced at Ethan, who returned her worried expression with a determined smile, and that gave her a flicker of courage. Let us go meet the elders, her father urged, leading the way through the winding streets of Maplewood, the soft crunch of leaves beneath their feet punctuating the silence that enveloped them. The little town, once welcoming and familiar, now held an air of foreboding. Jamie felt the weight of history in every corner, untold stories whispering from old brick walls. Hearts pounding with both fear and determination, they arrived at the town hall. The large wooden door stood before them, heavy and imposing. Her father gave one last look at them before pushing it open, revealing a room filled with community elders, their faces lined with solemnity and concern. "Thank you for coming," said Elder Thompson, the town's oldest member, his voice gravelly yet warm. "We've learned troubling news." He glanced at the others, and Jamie's heart raced. "What do you know?" Ethan asked, leaning forward, his hands gripping the table tightly. "They're not just after land, Jamie. They want something far more significant." Elder Thompson paused, his eyes searching theirs for understanding. "They're after control. They want to rewrite our past and erase what we hold dear." Jamie's pulse quickened. "But how? Why? What do they want with NYX?" The question spilled out like a cracked dam, and she felt her father reach for her hand, steadying her. "They believe that knowing NYX's secrets will grant them power over her legacy," explained Annabelle, another elder with deep-set eyes. "And if they succeed, it could change everything we stand for." Jamie swallowed hard, trying to digest the weight of these revelations. The reverent tales she had cherished were no longer just stories, they were now a vital part of a brewing conflict. "We have to defend our history," her father said, standing taller now, his voice echoing in the small chamber. "We must protect NYX's narrative." "Agreed," Elder Thompson nodded. "But it needs to come from you, the younger generation. We'll gather our knowledge, our roots, but you must lead the charge. They'll be expecting us to crumble in fear, but what they don't know is that our strength lies within community and truth." Echoes of determination reverberated through Jamie. She looked at Ethan, who nodded back, fire igniting in his eyes. "We know the stories. We just need to use them." Taking a deep breath, Jamie felt a spark igniting within. She raised her voice, "Then let us gather everything. Every tale, every written word about NYX and our families. We'll show them what we've got together." As they planned their next steps, an uneasy thought bubbled in Jamie's mind. But what if they weren't ready? What if understanding NYX only opened doors to darker truths? Was this path truly their salvation, or would it lead them into deeper shadows? As uncertainty loomed, Jamie couldn't shake the vision of the figure she had seen in the hall. What if it was a warning? The night thickened around them, echoing with the growing urgency of their mission. With a heart full of resolve but a head swirling with fear, She grasped Ethan's hand as they left the town hall. The night felt both formidable and inviting, a canvas yet unwritten. With every secret we uncover, the stakes rise, she whispered, more to herself than to Ethan. Would anyone discover the fragile darkness that hid beneath the myths? And what would happen when they finally confronted their legacy? In the deepening night, with questions looming larger than before, they prepared to take the first steps on this uncharted path ahead. Hope flickered alongside their apprehension, both as palpable as the night air that surrounded them. With their hearts racing, Jamie and Ethan stepped into the cool embrace of the evening, the town of Maplewood draped in shadows and uncertainty. Clutching each other's hands, they moved with purpose but also trepidation. Every corner felt alive, brimming with secrets, some of which they hadn't yet fathomed. Jamie's mind buzzed with the weight of their mission. Where should we start? Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if saying it louder would summon the darkness. We should go to the library, Jamie replied, her voice gaining strength. That's where all our family records are kept. If there's something to find about NYX, it's got to be there. The library loomed in the distance, its large windows twinkling like stars. Each stride brought them closer, but also steepened their anxiety. They stepped inside, the familiar scent of paper and ink wrapping around them like a warm blanket, but tonight, it felt off. Flickering lights overhead added to the shadows that danced on the walls. As they navigated the stacks, Jamie's fingers brushed against the spines of old tomes, each book holding whispers of the past. Her pulse quickened anew. These tales, they matter more than ever, she murmured, trying to believe it herself. Ethan was already on his knees, flipping through a dusty ledger. Look at this. He held up a page, its yellowed edges curling, the ink scratchy but clear. Record of the gatherings. Every meeting the town has, right down to the minutes. Intrigued, Jamie leaned closer. What does it say? There's mention of NYX here and... a festival? It says she was celebrated for guiding people through troubled times. His eyebrows shot up. What if we revived it? Brilliant! Jamie exclaimed, her heart leaping. If we bring everyone together, it'll remind them of what we're protecting. We need to honor her. But then doubt crept back in. But will they care? What if they see it as a threat? Ethan's expression softened. Then we show them why it matters. We don't just fight. We unite. We could weave the stories into performances, art. People love a story. His passion lit a spark within her. Let us gather up the records, Jamie suggested, determination flooding through her. They hurried, pulling books from shelves, reading aloud fragments of tales that celebrated NYX and her legacy. As they pieced together the stories, Jamie's heart broke over the truths. They unearthed tragedies and triumphs woven through generations. Hours passed, the library seemingly shrinking around them, but they didn't stop. With each revelation, they felt more connected, more empowered, rekindling the hope they thought was lost amidst their fears. Suddenly, an unsettling rustle echoed in the room. Jamie froze, exchanging a glance of alarm with Ethan. The door creaked open ever so slightly, a silhouette standing on the threshold, deepening the shadows. Who's there? Jamie called out, her voice trembling slightly. No answer came, but she could feel it, the presence of something unknown, something watching. Ethan clenched her hand tighter. We need to be careful. Could be them. Her heart raced as she contemplated the figure. The urgency of their mission collided with an unsettling fear. What would happen when the dark parts of their history finally pushed back? Would they be ready for the truth they dug up, or would it consume them? As the figure stepped forward, Jamie's breath caught, realizing their journey was only beginning. The shadows closing in felt alive now, rich with secrets waiting to be unveiled. Are we ready for what's next? Jamie whispered, glancing towards Ethan, who looked just as bewildered. With every heartbeat, the night outside deepened. They had dared to step into the unknown, and now it seemed the unknown was ready to reveal itself. The figure stepped fully into the dim light of the library, and Jamie's heart sank. It was a woman, draped in dark clothing, her hair flowing like shadows around her face. There was something ethereal about her, almost otherworldly. Goosebumps prickled Jamie's skin. "Who are you?" Ethan asked, his voice steadier than his trembling hands suggested. The woman regarded them with piercing eyes, deep and swirling like a midnight sky. "I am Talia," she said softly, the corners of her mouth tipping up in a faint smile. "I'm here to help, not to harm." "Help?" Jamie echoed, skepticism clouding her voice. "What do you know about NYX?" Talia stepped closer, the air heavy with her presence. "NYX is not just a story. She lives within those who believe. The festival you wish to revive is more than a celebration. It's a call to rekindle the bond between your town and her essence." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean by that?" Talia crossed her arms, her gaze settling on the flickering lights above. "For years, Maplewood has forgotten the power of their roots. The gatherings you've seen them in the records were once a way to honor the connections between townsfolk. In doing so, they honored NYX, but fear and division have overshadowed those celebrations." Jamie felt a wave of realization wash over her. That's why the town is falling apart. People have forgotten what binds them. "Exactly." Talia nodded. "Unity breeds strength. That phrase has a history. If you wish to bring back hope, you must evoke that unity." Ethan's eyes brightened. "But how? We can't just pull people together. They don't believe in NYX anymore. They don't even believe in the gatherings. What if we show them?" Jamie suggested, her voice sparking with excitement again. "What if we made NYX the center of the festival and reminded them why she matters? We create events that reflect her power, her gift of solace in darkness." Talia smiled, a genuine warmth radiating from her. "You have the right idea. But remember, it takes sensitivity and openness. Not everyone will welcome what they do not understand." A sudden pressure filled the room, a weight that was both exhilarating and frightening. Jamie exchanged a determined glance with Ethan. "We can manage it. We have to try." "Then the first step is gathering the stories," Talia encouraged. "You must reveal the truth behind NYX, the love she shared, and the guidance she extended. The night has many voices, but time has silenced them." The further whispers of the library echoed around them as Jamie and Ethan began to discuss their tentative plans for the festival. Their voices filled the shadows, stirring a momentum they hadn't thought possible. "Let us start with those who remember the old stories," Ethan said, excitement flooding his tone. "And we can incorporate performances, art exhibits, maybe even a storyline that intertwines all our family histories," Jamie added, her eyes shining. But just as the energy between them grew, the lights flickered violently, plunging the library into darkness. A chilling wind rushed through, and Jamie felt a surge of fear grip her heart. "Get ready," Talia warned, her voice steady. "They are not going to let you reclaim this easily." "Who?" Jamie shouted into the void, dread coiling within her stomach. But before Talia could answer, the chill tightened around them, enveloping them in a shroud of darkness. A chorus of whispers swirled violently, an echo of old fears clawing at the edges of their resolve. While they stood, hearts pounding and breaths quickening, it was clear. The journey to revive NYX was about to get a lot more complicated. Just how far would they have to go to face the truths hidden in the shadows? And would they be strong enough to stand together when the secrets of Maplewood began to unravel? The wind howled around them, and Jamie's breath caught in her throat. It felt as if the library itself shivered, the old shelves groaning under the weight of secrets long buried. The darkness was thick and oppressive, making it hard to breathe as whispers filled the air, haunting, familiar, yet disjointed. "Hold on to each other," Talia instructed, her voice calm amid the chaos. Jamie grabbed Ethan's hand tightly, their fingers intertwining in a shared moment of fear and resolve. As the swirling whispers enveloped them, Jamie strained to catch words, fragments of stories lost to time. Names floated through the air like smoke lost, forgotten. "NYX, Unity, remember us," came the hurt voices, each word clinging to her like cobwebs. "What's happening?" Ethan yelled, his voice barely rising above the tempest. "They're reaching out," Talia shouted back, her form shimmering as if caught between the physical world and the shadows. "It's the stories trying to come forth." Don't be afraid. Suddenly, a bright flicker pierced through the darkness, revealing a flicker of movement in the far corner of the library. Jamie squinted to make sense of it, and then it solidified a silhouette, a figure wearing an old cloak standing by the shelves, its face obscured. "Who are you?" Jamie called, her voice trembling. The figure's gaze locked onto hers, and in that moment, the chaos faded. "I am what remains of the old gatherings," the figure spoke, its voice gravely yet filled with a surprising warmth. "I was a storyteller who listened to every rhythm, every pulse of this town. Why have we lost you?" Ethan pressed, his voice more confident now, bolstered by Jamie's presence. "The fear took root," the figure replied softly, "and as it spread, the stories retreated. People began to forget what they had once cherished. They abandoned NYX, silencing her and themselves. You must bring them back." Jamie released Ethan's hand and stepped closer to the shadowy figure. "We want to revive the festival, the gatherings," she declared, conviction filling her voice. "But how do we bring everyone together again?" "Give them a reason to believe," the storyteller urged. "Share the stories that bind you. Each tale has power, and through them you will reignite that flame. You must remember how the night wraps around you, holding comfort even in despair." As the words tumbled from the figure, the library pulsed with life. Light flickered again, shadows danced along the walls, and Jamie felt warmth beginning to bloom in her chest. It was a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time, a feeling of hope. "But it won't be easy," the figure continued, almost fading away. "There will be those who resist, those who prefer the darkness. You must face them." "What do you mean?" Jamie sensed a warning, a tension hanging in the air. "Those who do not believe," the figure said, its tone grave. "They will try to stop you. Remember, they are scared. Show them NYX's strength. They need to feel her presence once more." With that, the figure dissipated into a cloud of shimmering light, leaving Jamie and Ethan in the eerie calm that followed the storm. The whispers turned to a gentle hum, a soft lull like a lullaby of ancient times. What did it mean? Ethan pondered, the gravity of their task settling around them. Jamie looked at Talia, who seemed to be a part of the surrounding air, almost as if she herself were a spirit of the night. "It means we need to find those stories, and we need to start now," she responded, a determined glint in her eyes. "Let us head to the community center tomorrow," Ethan suggested, his voice steady. "Those old cast-iron lights might have some history to share." "Exactly," Jamie agreed, a smile creeping onto her face. "We can start to bring the town together. We can make them see." But as they prepared to leave, a low, sinister laugh echoed through the library, chilling them to the bone. "You think it will be that easy?" A dark voice taunted from the shadows. "You're in over your heads." Panic flashed between them, but Jamie could feel a surge of courage rising within her. "We will do it," she said fiercely, "with or without you." "Then let the games begin." The voice faded into an eerie silence that left Jamie's heart racing. As they stepped into the fading light of the library, the looming threat unsolved, she knew they were not just fighting for their town. They were fighting for those silent stories too. What hidden fears awaited them as they stepped forward into the unknown? And would the courage of the young withstand the echoes of the past? The community center loomed ahead, its facade a patchwork of memories and faded paint, shadows stretching long as the sun dipped below the horizon. Jamie and Ethan walked side by side, tension hanging like a fog in the air. Each step felt heavier with the weight of their mission. "I hope the others will show up," Ethan said, glancing sideways at Jamie, whose eyes sparkled with determination. "It'll take all of us to bring this back." "We'll give them something to believe in," she replied, her voice steady. The thought of gathering their friends filled her with a mixture of excitement and dread. She couldn't shake the feeling that whatever awaited them would test their resolve. As they entered the center, the familiar scent of polished wood mixed with old paper greeted them. Felt oddly comforting, like a hug from the past. The walls, adorned with pictures from past gatherings, whispered stories of laughter, love, and unity. "Look at this," Jamie exclaimed, pointing to an old photograph of the town's first gathering. a vivid snapshot of joy. We can show them what NYX once meant to everyone. This is why we fight. Ethan nodded. But how do we get them to remember? It feels like everyone is so lost in their own darkness. By sharing our own stories, Jamie suggested. We connect to them, show the beauty even in the shadows. They set to work, scattering chairs in a circle, spreading out reminders of the town's history-old posters, stories scribbled on scraps of paper, and photos that told tales long forgotten. As they prepared, a group began to trickle in. Some faces were familiar, others were strangers, but each carried a unique expression, curiosity mixed with a hint of skepticism. Jamie felt a buzz of hope, but her heart raced when she noticed some townsfolk lingering in the back, arms crossed, their faces locked in concern. Fear had a way of building walls. "Good evening, everyone," Jamie called out, her voice trembling with anticipation. "Thank you for coming. We're here because we believe there's something truly special about the stories of our town. They've been lost for too long." As she spoke, Jamie felt the shadows of doubt creeping closer, but she pressed on. "They hold the power to connect us, to heal. We want to reignite the gatherings, to remember NYX, who was once the heart of our community." Light flickered in the dim room as she shared tales from her childhood, weaving in laughter and moments of warmth. She spoke of the festival nights filled with music, laughter ringing out under the stars, and how they ignited a spirit of unity. At her side, Ethan chimed in with his own stories, adding depth to the tapestry. Slowly, some faces softened, the tight lines around their mouths easing. But then, a voice sliced through the air. "What if it's all just lies?" One of the skeptics had stepped forward, his voice bitter, reminiscent of the darkness lurking in the library. "What if digging up these stories just opens old wounds?" The room fell silent, tension wrapping around them like a shroud. Jamie's heart sank. She could see the skepticism spreading like a shadow. "We're not trying to ignore the past," she said, her voice steady now, fueled by a fire within. "We're trying to acknowledge it, to honor it. We face our fears to grow stronger." With tangible determination filling the air, she caught eyes around the circle. "Even the darkest stories can bring light if we share them together." As murmurs of agreement began to surface, Jamie dared to hope. But beyond the walls of the center lurked the sinister presence that had taunted them. Still, a flicker of resolve ignited in her heart. "And we need every single one of you to make this happen," she added, pleading for connection. "Will you join us?" In that moment, facing down uncertainty, a brave smile appeared on Ethan's face. He was ready, and Jamie felt the wave of solidarity building. But just then, the door swung open with a creak, a cold gust blowing through as whispers danced in from the darkening evening. The tall figure from earlier stood at the threshold, casting a long shadow over Jamie. And the crowd. "Are you truly ready to face the stories lurking in the dark?" the figure asked, challenging every ounce of courage in the room. As whispers of fear echoed back, Jamie knew this was only the beginning. Would they rally together against the rising shadows, or would fear quench their newfound hope before it could truly shine? Jamie stood at the center of the community room, her pulse quickening, the eyes of Maplewood's residents locked on her. Silence lingered, heavy and tense. The tall figure in the doorway seeped uncertainty into their resolve. But Jamie felt a spark of defiance building inside her. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice stronger than she felt. "And what do you want?" The figure smirked, an unsettling shadow against the fading twilight. "I am merely a reflection of your fears, and I know the stories you've unearthed." As words coursed like flickering candlelight through the room, Jamie's heart raced. The townsfolk looked wary, fear creeping into their expressions. Yet beneath that, she could sense something stirring, a shared determination. "Enough of this." Ethan broke the silence, stepping beside Jamie. "You think we're scared of ghosts or shadows? These stories need to be told." Their boldness ignited murmurs of agreement, the crowd shifting together. Jamie seized the moment. "Together, we can bring these stories back into the light. We can honor NYX and everything she represents." The figure's eyes narrowed as if gauging their passion. But truth has a way of tearing people apart. Are you prepared for that? Jamie shook her head, a fierce resolve setting into her features. Truth is powerful. It binds us. And yes, it may hurt, but it can also heal. The light in the community center grew a little brighter, the weight of shared histories lifting the air. Jamie felt the warmth of unity enveloping them, sparks igniting the tales whispered from the past. Then show me your strength, the figure challenged, an edge of intrigue threading through their tone. Prove it. Jamie absorbed the words like a drumbeat, calling upon their ancestral roots and the stories she had unearthed before. We will organize the festival. We'll bring back the gatherings, her voice surged, to celebrate our history, to connect and remember what it means to be a family. Come, join us. With her heart in her throat, she turned expression by expression. Searching for courage amid the faces gathered, her father's support shone bright. The elderess nod of approval added fuel to her fire, and she found the courageous heart echoing in Ethan's eyes. I'll help. I can gather old photographs. One voice chimed in. I'll support the performances. Another added, enthusiasm rising in the room. From the shadows, a hesitant smile broke across the face of the skeptic who had challenged her. Maybe our stories are worth sharing after all, maybe they do matter. Their whispers wrapped around Jamie, solidifying the bond she felt between them as they transitioned from doubt into hope. As she spoke about the essence of NYX, the love that comforted even in darkness, she felt her heartbeat sync with those around her. A resounding echo of connection. In that moment, Jamie realized the shadow had begun to dissolve. The figure at the door hesitated, aware of the tides shifting within the room. A hint of surprise crossed its features as the atmosphere began to pulse with vibrant energy. Very well, it murmured, softness creeping into the voice as shadows released their grip. Perhaps the night will not consume you after all. As the figure dissolved into the dark, Jamie and the townsfolk stood united in the flickering lights, fear receding like the tide. Each individual had chosen to reconnect, to reclaim NYX and a legacy that had stood strong through time. Jamie's heart swelled with gratitude and amazement as faces morphed from uncertainty into determination. The following weeks transformed Maplewood. Flyers adorned shop windows announcing the festival. Stories were gathered in the kitchen of the diner, laughter echoing amongst preparation. The community united. Baking, crafting, and rehearsing, each voice lifted was a tribute back to the night and its celestial essence. The old tales woven into the night's gatherings revived whispers of love, connection, and resilience as the day of the festival dawned. Jamie stood under a sky dusted with stars, her heart dancing at the energy around the town. From the softly glowing fairy tale lights that twinkled, to the jubilant aromas of apple pie and cinnamon mingling in the air, the familiar warmth of home wrapped around her. She felt NYX watching, embracing their efforts to weave light through the shadows of their past. The community embraced one another, sharing tales and laughter, rekindling bonds forgotten. Jamie's voice rose above the celebration, her story bringing them together, her heart echoing the true essence of NYX, the protector who cherished their stories. As joy brightened the night, a deep sense of fulfillment washed over Jamie. They had turned trials into tributes, fear into festivity, proving that hope could illuminate even the deepest darkness. The legacy of NYX lived once more, not bound merely in myth, but woven through the fabric of Maplewood's community, alive in every shared story, every act of solidarity. And in that moment, standing amidst her people, Jamie knew they were not just celebrating. They were reaffirming their bond, resilient against the shadow, ready to face whatever darkness came next, for they had did it together. Each flicker of courage ignites the night, she yelled out, lifting her voice to the stars. The crowd cheered, reflecting the hope shimmering all around them. Join hands, hold the stories dear, and protect the night. Maplewood is home. As fireworks exploded light above, Jamie understood the truth. This was the heart that connected them all. And this was just the beginning. Now that you've reached the end of this incredible journey, don't just sit there. Subscribe immediately to our channel, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that captivate your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the magic alive. Your support is crucial. I want to hear from you. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. How did it touch your heart? And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support now. This is the moment to step forward and spread the light.